Hello guys, I'm Fizzy and welcome back to another round of the official AOR GT3 Elite League on Project Cars. This is round number 8 out of 10 at Zhuhai in China, of all places. A circuit that I have never seen on any other game or real-life event apart from Project Cars, but one that is pretty interesting and challenging as well. A lot of big straights and a lot of hard braking zones to challenge the drivers, and as you can see on your screen right now, not normal conditions either. We are in the middle of the night, at 12 AM start here, and with some fog in the air as well, making it very limited visibility for the drivers and for us as commentators and viewers, of course, as well. But we are going into this race on the back of a cracking 7 rounds so far, and with the Finnish alien F1 Masa still leading the championship by 19 points now after a troublesome outing last time at Spa. TonyR is currently sitting second in the championship as his nearest challenger, while Kaki, the man who has been kind of the biggest challenge for Masa on track for many of the races this season, unfortunately could not be present for this race at Zhuhai. So, for the qualifying order, we unsurprisingly have Masa starting on pole position with a lap time of 1:29.4, very impressive indeed, 0.6 of a second ahead of Papand, who claimed the other front row spot. Puff Pirate, on only his second race in the league, is on a third spot, with Jellyfish, Ycoms, Nasterovic, TonyR, Zhuhai, Silver Arrow, and Ginger S in the top 10 as well. And a bit of a special race this in terms of the race start, because of the issues that we've been having with the out-of-sync game starting lights in recent races, culminating in that huge start crash at Spa last time out, which was caused by that particular issue. The idea for this one was to do a manual standing start where the green lights were called by Yorkie via voice chat on TeamSpeak. However, one driver at the back of the grid hadn't quite read the forum and wasn't aware that that was happening, and ended up kind of ruining that one. So instead we had to improvise again, just like we did at Watkins Glen, with a rolling start instead. So that is what you're currently watching, the drivers rolling around on the formation lap around to the start-finish straight, and then the race shall of course get going. So now I will hand you over to the live commentary from the Twitch stream with myself and Yorkie.
Right, drivers slow down to 60 miles per hour, 100 kilometers per hour, form up in 2x2 formation. Massa, you have the inside for turn 1.
Oh god, making this hard now.
Oh god, I need to do this quick.
Yeah. Coming towards the lights now, so Yorkie's going to have to call the green lights very soon.
All drivers, races, green, green, green.
There we go. The race is underway. You heard the man with the voice, Yorkie, calling the lights there. I'm not sure if everyone at the back of the field were quite at the right place, but Marcel being put a little bit under pressure from Papand at the start there. Close racing for third as well. Puff Pirate holding onto that, and as Jellyfish and Ycoms side by side for second. Masa holding off Papand there just about as well. Let's see. Yeah, Jellyfish wins that battle with Ycoms. A little bit surprising, the Ycoms looked like he backed out of it on the straight, but Zhuhai has actually gained quite a few positions, well, at least one. He's up to 7th place in that Audi. A little bit of crash sounds being heard. Zhuhai, oh, and it's Aston Martin off there. Who is that? That is Jellyfish, who's dropped a few positions. So either he made a mistake, or there was an incident maybe with Ycoms, who was a car behind him, but I'm not going to accuse him of anything without having actually seen it. Oh, and side by side, with Puff Pirate being overtaken by Ycoms. So Ycoms with a flying starter, actually, up to 3rd already, Yorkie.
Yeah, I do believe he actually started in 4th position, so he's gained 1 so far. Puff Pirate is obviously in 4th. It looks like we've got an Aston Martin going down the inside of Manu. I believe that is TonyR just picking him up now as they accelerate out of the hairpin down towards TonyR and Manu, getting very, very close together. I believe there's a tiny little contact between the two there as they're coming now down into the final turn. It looks like that Massa is starting to pull away off into the distance with Papand in second. Those two drivers pulling away from, I believe that's Ycoms in 3rd position.
Yep.
And then we've got Puff Pirate currently under threat from Manu as he goes a little bit deep into the corner there. Contact between TonyR and Manu. TonyR spinning off to the right hand side of the circuit as Jellyfish manages to slip past. TonyR is now quite heavily under threat from Nasterovic and I believe that's Silver Arrow in the second Mercedes behind, who's just been dive bombed by Tipple.
Yeah.
Tipple making a very, very nice move up the inside there in the braking zone. The SLS not having too great of brakes and will have to brake quite early, whereas the Z4 does have some very, very good brakes on that car, using that to its full advantage, making sure it slips up into a ninth position. And I must say, the start there was kind of a little bit hashed there by ourselves. Kind of had to make it up on the fly and trying to think of the best way to do it without the guys losing too much temperature in the brakes and tyres being sat there on the grid. There's contact there between Mini Black and Silver Arrow just behind Tipple. I believe Mini Black went into the back of Silver there, but Mini Black's dropped a couple of car lengths back to try and avoid any advantage, just jumping up to TonyR, currently in 7th position, looking to close up on the back of Jellyfish and see if he can gain a place or two, try and get himself back up towards 6th, 5th position.
Indeed, so we've got a bit of teammate scraps going on there. TonyR and Jellyfish very close together. To Jay as well, very close to his new teammate Puff Pirate in that Audi team. And Ycoms kind of leading the train. Puff Pirate taking a pretty aggressive line there, but he was way too far back to really have a go on Ycoms for now. Scrolling through the field, you can see all the lights blasting past the camera. The field pretty close together, apart from the top two, who, as you mentioned, really taking advantage of the other guys battling and kind of streaking clear a little bit here in the early stages of the race. That is, of course, Masa in the lead and Papand behind him. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this midfield battle pans out. Ycoms holding on to 3rd place right now.
Yeah, I've just had a look down at the back end of the field. It looks like both Pedro and AJ have retired from the race. We saw AJ earlier stuck just before the last corner, I believe. It looked like he couldn't really do anything and unfortunately had to retire. I'm not entirely sure what's happened to Pedro, but apparently watching Dinder in 19th place, and it looks like he's got quite heavy damage to the left-hand side of his Bentley. You can see it all scuffed up. This guy's a little bit away up the road. And then Andrex down in 17th, Brownski in 16th, although he did start towards the tail end of the field. He was saying that he has had virtually no practice for this race, so he's very much in the dark, pun intended, as to what is going to happen with his race in terms of strategy and the overall car setup.
Yeah. It's as we might have a move actually. Nostra moving to the inside on a Tipple, I believe, into the turn 1-2 complex, and he's braked a little bit later, but Tipple bringing himself back into it and holding it around the outside, fighting back hard there is a Tipple. That is, that's Centra actually, not Tipple. Tipple is a little bit further up, I believe, but Centra running out on the grass there, but still carrying the momentum. Not quite close enough up the inside, grabbing a lot of that curb as well. And Macy joining in that Janetta just behind. Centra might just be put under pressure, but Macy pulls back into the slipstream, going into the next hard braking zone. Centra taking a slightly defensive line and just forces Macy to back out of it, maybe with slight contact at the rear, but neither of the cars seemingly particularly affected by it. And it really annoys me now that every time we go through this part of the lap, the camera switches to the front bumper, which is a little bit annoying, but nothing we can do about that one. Centro defending 13th for now at least, and Nostra moving up to 12th.
Yeah, that's a pretty good move there, using the power of the SLS to slip past the less power that the Z4 has in the V8 down the start-finish straight and managing to slip himself up a position. Mini Black's not doing too great in 11th. He's been having some pretty good results since the 3rd race of this season. He's currently running at 11th, just outside the top 10. He's pretty close, as I actually just seen the
Aston Martin
two Aston Martins go down the start-finish straight. We actually got Jellyfish trying to come back at TonyR. TonyR's managed to get himself up to 6th. Jellyfish with the inside coming through turns 1 and 2, and it looks like the TonyR is just about managed to hold on to 6th position around the outside, as Jellyfish was looking a little bit twitchy there through the mid-corner, the rear end. Getting a little bit wobbly as Nesterovic there got very, very close, and I believe actually tagged the back of Jellyfish's car, which brought Tipple right up onto the back of the roof of Nesterovic, and is now actually trying to potentially make a move. And we've now actually got Silver Arrow trying to make a move down the inside, coming into this next left-handed hairpin. Will he be able to pull it off? No, not quite. Not able to use the brakes on the SLS. Having to brake quite early and has kind of had to back out of the move. But I do actually believe that Tipple was now actually side by side with Silver Arrow. Silver Arrow trying to look for the outside. No, not quite. Has better thoughts to that move coming into the next double right-hander. Has a very, very short straight between them. Like Tipple there, got a little bit of a wiggle on through the second part, and he now has an SLS, a very threatening looking Bentley, just behind him. We are running with real assist, so most of these cars, or shall I say all the cars, should have traction control, but even still, that is adjustable in the car setup, and I'm pretty sure a lot of drivers probably try and run that on its lower setting. So probably lit up the rear tyres a little bit. It cost him some ground, and yeah, he went deep into the right-handed hairpin, which has allowed Nostra to close up onto the back of him a little bit. And actually Tipple is going to potentially lose a position here to Silver Arrow. Silver Arrow is on his inside, coming out the exit of the final corner. Now got a side-by-side pure drag race coming down towards turn 1. Surely the SLS is going to have the advantage in the straight line, but Tipple on the brakes will be later, and is trying to pull out a little bit of a car length in front to try and hold it around the outside. So running off onto the grass on the inside there, just about narrowly avoiding contact with the wall there, getting away with that one. But man, he almost gained a position. He's now actually found himself another Z4 to contend with, and that will be Centro diving down the inside up into 12th position into turn 4, and he's now also got Maisie jumping onto the back of the SLS for company as well.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for Silver Arrow, who, as you said, is going to be very much under pressure from Macy, who takes the inside line into the next hard braking zone, and making that move stick quite nicely. Indeed, no mistakes from the Ginetta driver. Silver Arrow, though, getting a pretty solid exit, and in the slipstream result towards the netcode, might just try to get him straight back, but no, he backs out of it, doesn't want to be too optimistic going into there. And unfortunately for Silver Arrow, he was battling in the top 10 just half a lap ago. And but of course, when you're on the inside going through the turn 1-2 complex, it's hard a little bit. It's quite hard to kind of judge the braking and the turning. To be honest, and okay, I don't know if you saw something get there because you.
I did.
Bit of a breathing sound.
Yeah, Nesterovic was trying to move down the inside of Jellyfish into the penultimate corner. They're actually pretty close as they now come out of the final turn. And down the start-finish straight, I do believe the top 5 or 6 drivers have spread themselves out a little bit, and it actually looks like Nesterovic had a pretty poor exit coming out of the final turn, has dropped off the back of Jellyfish and allowed Tipple to close up onto the back of his roof. I'm going to very quickly pop ahead just to see where people are exactly. Massa's rumping way off into the lead, setting some very, very quick lap times. His previous lap was a 1:30.517, only a tenth off his fastest so far, and he seems to be roughly about 7-8 tenths quicker than Papand at the moment. He's currently running in second in some clear air. Ycoms isn't too far behind in third position in his SLS.
He's looking very good there.
Yeah, Puff Pirate also in fourth with some relatively close company with Manu behind, and then we've got TonyR hunting down Manu in front of him, only roughly a second, maybe slightly less than that between these two drivers. So I imagine that battle will probably resume in a couple of laps time, and I imagine Tony will be very, very eager to try and take the fight back to Manu and see if he can muscle his way past up into 5th position. Like I was saying, Jellyfish has got very close company with Nesterovic behind. Tipple's not too far behind them, and then Mini Black with the glowing neon lights in the front grille of that Bentley, managing to get himself up into the top 10. And Nostra now behind in 11th, obviously benefiting from Silver Arrow's mistake on the previous lap into the first turn. Actually, TonyR looks like he possibly muscled his way past Manu there. I didn't really see, I just saw the two guys very, very close through the mid-corner, and all of a sudden TonyR was the only one still on track, and Manu was off on the exit.
So a close battle behind as well.
Yep.
That is Tipple under pressure, or maybe even attacking Jellyfish, because he was behind him, wasn't he?
Yes,
trying around the outside there, very brave move, but Jellyfish doing well to keep the momentum up despite having the tighter inside line there, and that is actually going to give Tipple a pretty poor exit, and under pressure now from Nesterovic and that alternate liveried roof that is running today round the outside. He is going to try as well, but once again inside driver hit wins out, and Nesterovic being tagged there by a Bentley. That's going to be Mini Black, which is very unfortunate. Both of them have definitely lost a bit of momentum there. Nesterovic dropping behind Nostras. They're down to 10th position, and Mini Black also dropping behind both Maisie and Centro. Now the pressure from Silver Arrow, who also had a mistake earlier on, but Mini Black just about managed to stay ahead of him. But a bit of an incident there. Shame for those two. I think Mini Black might just have to take the blame for that one based on what I could see there. But both the drivers luckily still in the race and with no major damage.
Yeah, all the cars there, was 5 of them in a very, very tight space, all very, very close to each other, trying to basically pick up any little pieces of space that they can possibly get from the drivers in front of them, try and capitalise on any mistakes. I think Mini Black may have had a pretty good run coming out of the exit and put his foot down and tagged the back of Nesterovic's car. Both of them, like you said, Fizzy, have recovered back onto the circuit with what looks to be minimal damage. However, they have lost quite a few places from that. And just picking up Tipple now, who is still currently behind Jellyfish. This is obviously promoting Nostra up into 10th place, who is pretty close to the back of Tipple. So the fight has dropped from five cars down to 3. And it'll be interesting to keep an eye on these guys as well. So Manu is dropped down behind TonyR a little bit, and Puff Pirate in front. Well, a little bit of clear air. Ycoms pulling out quite a nice gap. Well, Papand, I can't really see Massa in sight anywhere in terms of Papand's sights. Nope. Massa's just gone through turns 4 and 5. Now accelerating up to the hairpin in front of the stadium. See him come in, taking a very nice smooth line, accelerating out the corner, not troubling the curb on the exit too much. Very, very nice, clean and smooth driving there. And just looking at Papand as well.
10 seconds behind as well, just counted that.
It does.
Pretty much exactly 10 seconds between the top two, so you just have to say that Massa seemingly has the pace around this circuit, as he has had so many times previously, of course. And yeah, Khaki Man, it's a shame you're not there to challenge him. Because he's certainly done a good job for that in some of the races so far this season. Papand, of course, no slouch in terms of pace either, but not quite up to the speed of the race leader so far. And I have to commend Ycoms for his performance there, to be honest. He's not been anywhere close to the podium so far this season, and he really seems to just have the pace to drive away in 3rd place right now. It's not too many seconds down to Puff Pirate behind him, who, of course, also has to be commended. A fantastic drive for him so far, even though we're only 12 laps into the race. It's only his 2nd race in the league, of course, so that is very impressive indeed. And keeping his cool so far, Yorkie, despite TonyR closing in on him a little bit.
I'll go back to talking about the track, and it's the brake marker boards. On most circuits, they're kind of in and around and fairly close to the edges of the track. These are actually raised up on the barriers and on the catch fencing around the circuit on this circuit. So it's good in the fact that you can't actually hit them and knock them down. However, when you haven't really got much lighting apart from your headlights, they do come up on you very, very quickly, and they can be quite hard to spot as well. So yeah, trying to nail the braking points and the apexes on this circuit in these current conditions is probably quite a tricky task for these drivers, but they're doing a very, very good job of it so far.
Yeah, I have to say, we haven't seen too many self-inflicted mistakes anyway, or spins or whatnot. We saw, of course, Silver Arrow had a spin here at turn 1, but that was while battling with another car, so you kind of would think that was...
Mini Black's just gone really, really deep into turn 1, and it's going to allow Silver Arrow to get right up
alongside him. Self-inflicted mistake.
Very, very close to the back of the Ginetta of Maisie. They just about managed to avoid making contact, and Mini Black is actually holding the line at the moment ahead of Silver Arrow. Silver Arrow did have the inside line for turn 3 there, the very fast right-handed kink, but I guess he probably backed out of the throttle thinking better of it and slotted back in behind Mini Black for the moment. There you go. You probably saw a very quick flash of Silverado jumping onto the brakes before the Bentley ahead of him did into that hairpin. But yeah, Mini Black having a slight moment there, but managing to recover and get away with it.
So I'm going to move back up the field again. Oh, we got some pitters actually. In the very narrow pit entry, Nesterovic is going in there, and I swear there was someone else as well. Didn't quite see who. There might have just been Nesterovic actually.
Come on, camera.
Pretty early pit stop, I guess. I guess you would be expecting the pit window to open right about now. We're getting close to the middle stage of the race. There was 39 laps, of course, so around 19, 20 is where you know, the middle part of the race is.
Yes, we've actually got Mini Black getting very, very close to the back of Maisie. Battle for 11th position. Mini Black is trying to line himself up with a run into the final turn. Doesn't look like he's quite going to be able to get the ground there for the moment and slide back in behind Maisie, but has also lost a little bit of ground, a car length or two behind. This has allowed Silver Arrow to get very, very close to the back. Mini Black actually going defensive into the first turn. Both of them jumping on the brakes. Will they? Yes, they are going to avoid Maisie ahead of them. Both of them managing to get slowed down and into the apex of the corner. And it looks like Mini Black is holding on to his 12th position for the moment.
Somehow these three guys all in the same order as they have been for quite a while. Mini Black getting close to Maisie, giving him a bit of a look, but couldn't quite pull it off and instead had to once again worry about Silver Arrow, but still in the same position, although I can see Silver Arrow's really closing. Mini Black forced to go defensive again into turn, I actually checked, it was turn 7, not turn 6, okay? That happened right there, but yeah. Silver Arrow still stuck behind, but once again getting a better exit out of the hairpin, and this time it's not going to back out of the inside line for the next corner, and Mini Black is forced to hold it right outside, and he actually pulls it off. Still, Mini Black, there's just no way to pass this man, and unless, oh, it looked like, in my view, that he got very loose on the curve there, and once again Silver Arrow is going to have a run, and this time with a better speed towards the corner, but Mini Black, whether he's outside, whether he's inside, he just is unpassable by Silver Arrow right at this stage of the race. Really, really impressive defensive driving from Mini Black, but Silver Arrow is not done there. He's gonna just keep piling the pressure on. As I saw a car touching the gravel a little bit on the front, that might have been Maisie, but yeah.
Here we go. He's got.
Ooh, and here we go again, down towards turn 1. The main straight in the race, and this one surely, you see, no, it's Mini Black out of nowhere. How was he brake that much later? That is unbelievable. I mean, you spoke about the Mercedes having worse brakes, but that was crazy. Mini Black was more than a car length ahead into the braking zone, and still Mini Black up the inside and keeping the position. I mean, Yoki, what? How?
I'm not entirely sure. I was watching that coming out of that hairpin a couple of corners before the final one, after they did go side by side, and Silver Arrow got the better exit coming out of it and picked up the slipstream. This time he was a little bit more patient through the final turn and actually waited for the start-finish straight to make his opportunity. He actually got the final corner down better than Mini Black ahead. Mini Black was a meter or two shy of the apex, whereas Silver Arrow pretty much nailed the inside curve beautifully and was able to get a good run coming out of it. And yeah, it looked like he had the move pretty much done and dusted before the first turn. But
yeah, he did, didn't it?
Sorry, Mini Black just jumped on the brakes so much later than Silver Arrow did and just completely made up all the ground that he had lost down the straight.
Cheeky battle for 18th between the two teammates there. Unfortunately, the third teammate, AJ, of course, as we know, not finishing this race. And oh, they're getting close together! Well, man, Vice Guy kind of hitting a Blue Rat into the braking zone there, and dusts back out of that one. Clearly, just a misjudgment from his part in the dark conditions. Of course, we mentioned it's pretty hard to spot the braking points sometimes, especially when you're also having to focus on the car ahead. And Wise Guy giving the position back, of course, to not gain any advantage there. But they're gonna keep, hopefully for them, having an enjoyable battle there at the back, even though for now it is not for any points. And yeah, the guys on the front, Masa and Papan, continuing to just show their pace. I think there's around 10-11 seconds between Papan and Ycoms now, between second and third, and then a similar gap between Masa and Papan as well, Yorkie. But still half a race to go. You never know, connection issues and mistakes and all sorts of stuff could still happen, even though based on experience you wouldn't really expect it with these drivers.
Yeah, pit stops. I'm actually just watching Puff Pirate start to make his way past the two BMWs. TonyR got held up a tiny little bit there on the exit of the hairpin by Vice Guy. Blue Rat now moving well out of the way of Puff Pirate into the next corner. It's going to slot between the Audi and the Aston Martin for the moment, and I imagine he is probably going to let TonyR through on the next straight or the following one. I'm sure the battle between Blue Rat and Vice Guy will probably resume after that. It looks like Blue Rat will probably do it on the next straight. Oh! TonyR goes and makes contact with the back of Blue Rat. TonyR just going miles deep into the corner there. I think he probably completely missed his braking point. I'm not entirely sure. It just didn't seem to slow down and went straight into the back of Blue Rat's car, making contact. I don't know how much damage either of the two drivers have got. TonyR stays out for now, and it looks like Blue Rat does so as well. Very interesting moment, and it would have cost TonyR a fair amount of time. I don't believe Manu was really anywhere close enough to capitalise on that. And speaking of which, Manu's actually gone and lost some ground. Has he? And yes, he has. I'm guessing Manu may have had a slight moment somewhere along the line, which has obviously cost him an awful lot of time.
I checked on them only a lap or so ago, and yeah, Jellyfish was nowhere near him in terms of immediate battle opportunity anyway. Yeah, I think today have just had a little moment somewhere, yeah, and a pretty bizarre incident, the one with TonyR, to be honest. I think it must be, as you said, that he just completely lost his braking point there into heavy braking zone, just focusing on the back marker. And of course, it's the first time this race where you'll be seeing a car that close ahead of him, well, since the first couple of laps, of course. And you know, when we're driving around with no cars in immediate contention in front, and in these conditions as well for so long, that's is easily done. I mean, there's no way he would have hit him on purpose, because what on earth would he have gained from that? And as we're going to see now, Blue Rat surely going to be pulling out of the way for him on this straight. Is he not? No, not for now. That is... there we go. There we go. Right there in the straight. Doesn't want to lose any more than he needs to there. TonyR, though, had been put off a little bit by that, because he had to not quite take the optimal line through the corner, which means he ran a little bit on the grass on the exit, and that is actually going to put the BMWs into combat once again. Blue Rat passing Vice Guy, so it's actually Vice Guy that was taking his time to let TonyR through there, and he's now pushing Blue Rat through turn 2 there. He's getting super close together in the battle for 18th position, Yorkie, and well... Oh, and Vice Guy up the inside. That's a feisty move. It's like I mentioned, it's not for points at the moment, but they want to have some fun in the race still, and Vice Guy definitely not looking to give up this one.
Yeah, that was very close driving there between the first two, these two drivers through the first turn. Both of them giving each other a fair amount of space. Nice, big, respectful driving between these two, but they can't get caught up in this little battle too much, as they do have the next Aston Martin coming up behind them of Jellyfish. He'll want to try and get past and lap them as soon as possible. Looked like Vice Guy moved out of the way quite nicely there in that right-hander. It did look like Blue Rat was going to let Jellyfish go by, but Jellyfish wasn't really close enough to do so. Blue Rat is probably eager to not lose too much time with Vice Guy being behind, but he now lets Jellyfish take the inside line for the next corner. Vice Guy getting very close to poking his nose up the inside there, but Blue Rat gives him just about enough room that Vice Guy needed, but not enough for Vice Guy to actually do anything about it, and essentially covering off the inside line. I'm getting some huge lag here from a couple of the drivers. It looks like it's settling back down once again, as now Vice Guy is getting a pretty good slipstream as he comes down towards the start finish line, down towards turn 1. And where is Vice Guy going? I'm getting some huge lag right now.
Quite fine for me. He's holding it around the outside. Oh, actually, that was Blue Rat holding it around the outside of Vice Guy in that particular situation. That is a very good defensive driving from Blue Rat as well. So he's also been feisty in this battle. Neither of them want to give it up. It's you know, it might not be for points, but it's for finishing highest in their team at the very least, and avoiding the wooden spoon out of the finishers at the moment in the race as well. So Blue Rat still holding on, and yes, we just heard from the TeamSpeak notification there. Yorkie actually lost connection from the commentator box, which is a little bit unfortunate. I'm sure he'll be back as soon as he sorts that out. But for now, I'll just have to solo this one. So let's just roll through all the way from the top to check on everyone. Masa in first position, still solidly. Ooh, not so solidly. Wait, excuse me. Masa is not very far ahead of Papanda all of a sudden. So that is interesting. Papan's only about 3 or so seconds behind, and this is a battle for lead. You wouldn't quite expect him to have the pace based on what we've seen in the race so far of Masa. I have no idea how he's managed to catch that. Maybe Masa's had a mistake. That's my only theory on it, really. And Yorkie.
Yeah, my internet has dropped out, unfortunately. So I've actually lost connection to the session. As
that's a little bit annoying.
Unfortunately, Fizzy, you're on your own.
Well, speaking of not so much on my own anymore, I'll just mention it to the viewers, of course. Masa's actually been caught by Papan. I'm guessing he's made a mistake, but yeah, Papan only 2 or 3 seconds behind him right now in the battle for the lead. So interesting to see how that one develops. Ycoms still very much lonely in a third position, as it's been pretty much all race after the first few laps shaked out. Puff Pirate on his only second race, running in fourth. We mentioned earlier he was being caught by TonyR. Not anymore, clearly, because TonyR is definitely more than 3 seconds behind him right now. Around about 5 or so, I would estimate. So Puff Pirate also doing a very solid job. TonyR's teammate Jellyfish in 6th position now, out of the traffic, and running solidly there. And a battle maybe here actually today, very closely followed by Tipple in a battle for 7th position in the race. Might be one to keep an eye on. And not too far behind them as well is Centro, and he's just coming up to whoever is currently leading that BMW M3 battle right now. And more battling behind actually, that is Mini Black and Maisie. So yeah, Mini Black still ahead of Silver Arrow, who's actually dropped off the back of him a little bit after they were battling super hard earlier on in the race, and instead now Mini Black looking to gain a position by passing Maisie. And I haven't really seen anyone else in the pit lane, to be honest, apart from Nesterovic, who might have early pit stop. So I'm wondering if Nesterovic might have made a bit of an error here, being the only man that I've seen to have pitted, and if so, he's lost himself a huge load of time. He will of course be on fresher tyres towards the end of the race, and he's caught up. He's clearly passed Andrix somewhere along the line and caught up to Bransky, who he will have the upper hand against with the tyre advantage. And he actually is going to go right up the inside of turn 1, not quite close enough. Bransky just shutting the door in his face, which you'd expect when Nesterovic was at least a couple of car lengths behind into the braking zone. So Bransky is going to have none of that one. It would have been a very aggressive move if pulled off, but Nesterovic will surely be getting another opportunity to demote Bransky down to 15th. And not too far ahead of them is Ginger S. But yeah, quite interesting with Nesterovic being the only man I've seen in the pits so far. So he might just have lost out a little bit there. Because, I mean, clearly when 18 out of 19 drivers are opting not to do pit stop for new tyres, then you'd expect that to be the optimal strategy in the race. It remains to be seen whether Masa might make a mistake, or whether Pan suddenly has some late race pace here in the last 12 laps to actually claw that gap in. Surely it'll be not a case of lacking motivation now that he can see the race leader just a few seconds ahead of him. And who am I looking for? Yeah, I was looking for Nesterovic. Ooh, it was actually side by side with Bransky just as I jumped him. Obviously been trying to pass him for a lap or so after catching up with the fresher tyres. And Bransky now not going to give him any easy work on this one. Still holding on. The WZ4 working well in the corners. And just about keeping Bransky ahead for now. And I think Ginger S ahead will also be praising the Lord that Bransky is putting up such a fight, because of course the longer Bransky keeps Nesterovic behind, the smaller is the chance of Nesterovic also catching up to Ginger after getting through potentially. And he's going to move now up the inside into what I believe is turn 8 here, about halfway through the lap. This time Bransky surely not, or is he going to be able to hold it right the outside? Is it? See, Bransky taking a move out of Mini Black's book from earlier in the race, just wherever he's being attempted to pass, been passed. He's just holding on. Very impressive, carrying the speed around the outside of turn 8 to keep Nesterovic behind. So Brownski just showing his experience in this league here. So he's of course the Season 1 champion, as we all know. And still holding station ahead of Nesterovic. And still Tipple right at the back of Today, just hassling the back of him. But without managing to get close. So you can just see he's getting very close in the corners, but not quite on many matters, like towards the braking zone on the straight. He just the Z4 just lacking the power, but actually forcing now Today to go defensive into turn 7. So he got very close there, and let's see then if he can use that better line as momentum to get a better exit. But no, we can see there in the acceleration zone the Audi just having the advantage, pulling away. Despite you would think with the line Tipple took, he would have had a better run. But now though, Today getting pretty hard on that outside curb at turn number 8 through the flat out kink of a 9. And just see how close Tipple is. But despite the slipstream, the Z4 isn't powerful enough. Oh, he's got to have a move there, is he? I don't think they made a contact there. I think Tipple just managed to slow it down in time, and he actually got a corner cut warning. He's been slowed down by the game there. He had to go on the grass a little bit on the inside of the corner to avoid hitting the back of Today. So Tipple maybe missing the breaking points, maybe cracking a little bit under pressure or frustration from not making that move stick, and he's side-by-side with one of his teammates now, Centro, and they come so close together through the final corner. It's going to be almost 3 wide, and I'm not sure. I think that is Centro is lost out with a poor exit out the final corner, and taking advantage of that is a Mini Black who's passing 2 BMW Z4s in the space of pretty much 1 straight. So yeah, the wheelie bad BMW Z4 team not doing themselves any favors there. Tipple obviously being put very much on the back foot after getting that slowdown penalty, and Centro caught kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time, side by side through the final corner isn't quite ideal. And Tipple, unfortunately now, instead of challenging Today for potentially getting 7th, he now has to try and find a way back through on a Mini Black for 8th. It's been a long race for these drivers. We've been running close to an hour now. I would say maybe between 50 and 55 minutes at this stage, with just 5 laps to go. It's not long to go. Oh, one damn! Liverpool should have scored that chance. As I just took my eyes off the screen a little bit to see what was going on. But you know, sacrificing so much for this stream, you know. Oh, maybe a move, TonyR. Very aggressive attempt off the inside. Can he pull this one off from way back on Puff Pirate? But that lunge just put him on a poor line for the exit, of course, having to take that corner very, very tight. Puff Pirate luckily saw him coming as well, leaving room on the apex to make sure there was no contact involved. And a very optimistic move from TonyR, but he may just feel like he has to try something now, because it's been behind Puff Pirate for a few laps now without really getting too much. Speaking of not getting, he's not close enough again into turn 1, but getting through the corners though. Puff Pirate might just be a little bit slow on the exit there, but TonyR as well loosen the back end ever so slightly through turn 2, and Puff Pirate once again is able to hold on to that one. Jay might have had a little bit of moments, or just a bit of lack of pace here at the end, because that whole group of Mini Black, Tipple and Centro have caught right up to the back of him, and that might just be a 4-way scrap for 7th now in the latter stages of the race. I'm gonna just keep flicking between these 2 battles now, because just trying desperately to not miss any action there. Ooh, and I actually see on my timing that Nostra might be close to Brownski as well in battle for 15th. Not quite sure on that one though. Might be a timing bug. Yeah, they're definitely not close together anymore. So keep an eye on what's going on in the top 10. Centro, Mini Black, Tipple, Today is the train that we're looking at, and Today having to go a little bit defensive there on Tipple. So Tipple's actually found a way through on Mini Black somehow. No idea where that happened. And speaking of finding a way through though, Mini Black just getting into the position back maybe on Tipple, who was put a little bit on the back foot after trying. Oh, and there's nearly 3 wide into the braking zone there. Centro, I don't know if he intended to do that or if he just missed his points, but either way he's lost out a little bit by having to go on the grass. not much space for him when you're on the outside of a 3 wide, when there's a left-hand corner and the two guys that you're trying to battle are also on the right side of the track in the braking zone. But yeah, Tipple somehow got past on Mini Black and just then immediately got repassed, with Mini Black getting the cutback there on turn number 7. Impressive battling for them. TonyR though, still, he's got 2 laps now to do it on Puff Pirate, getting super close on the braking there. Man, that was close to hitting the back of Puff Pirate. Managed to slow it down just in time. Not going to do his pace any favors, but he's roundabout at the distance. A couple of callings where he's been for several laps now. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on and see if any of these positions will be changing right at the end. You'd think that the podium positions are pretty settled right now, with Massa, of course, still leading, and is not looking like making another mistake right about now. He's on good concentration. Although he's got a back marker ahead of him, actually. That would be either Wise Guy or Blue Rat. Be interesting to see how fast they will let him through, because, of course, Papan is only a few seconds behind and will be lurking if anything happens. But Puff Pirate also showing a cool head right now. I'm not really sure how experienced of a Persicost driver is outside of this league, but clearly a very strong driver based on this performance here today.
He's pretty experienced.
Pretty experienced, I'm hearing from a man who's also pretty experienced at knowing things. So I will take your word for that one. So 2 experienced drivers going at it with the Puff Pirate and TonyR, and Puff Pirate still not allowing TonyR any way through, but is getting super close once again. It's interesting to see how much TonyR is closing, right? Like, he's not close into the braking zone, but he's very close after the braking zone through the corner. But unfortunately for him, you can't really pass the Audi through the corner when the Audi is sitting nicely on the apex there. So he's going to have to try and find another way. A quick check on Massa. He's now found his way through on the back marker, so has Papand, and he actually seems closer now. He's only a second or 2 behind Papand, so I think Papand's gaining a little bit of time through that traffic, but unfortunately it's only half a lap to go, meaning that it might just be too little too late here in the battle for the lead, unless Massa makes a very uncharacteristic mistake through the final corner, but he does not, going through on the back marker right at the line, and F1 Massa wins the race here at Zhuhai for round number 8. Papan in a very strong second. Bronski is not in third, even though the timing screen wants us to think it is. Ycoms is going to be third. Impressive drive for him, but look here at the battle for 4th position. Puff Pirate still ahead of TonyR, and once again though TonyR is closing in really in the braking zone. And where on earth does Jellyfish come from? He was several seconds behind before. He's really close up on the back. So clearly Puff Pirate does not quite run at his optimal pace, with having to keep an eye on TonyR's mirrors, and Jellyfish maybe having a little look on TonyR there, but no, it's just too late. That was a very last-minute attempt, and it's going to be super close over the line there. Is Jellyfish on TonyR, but unfortunately for him, that's going to be too little too late again, as, ooh, it says Jellyfish is classified 5th there, ahead of TonyR. I'm pretty sure I saw TonyR cross the line first, unless I saw it wrong. Of course, they're running the same livery, so we can't quite be sure, but today as well has just held off the battle, and Tipple got 8th ahead of Mini Black, and then Centro at the back of that train. So a few potential position changes here in the final lap. Tipple finally making a way through on a Mini Black once again, and behind him we have Maisie and Silver Arrow in 11th and 12th. Nesterovic getting up to 13th in the end after being the only man to do a pit stop here. Ginger S in 14th, Brownski 15th after not having done much practice apparently, and Nostra in the final point position in a 16th place position. Andrex, Blue Rat and Vice Guy, the cars to not score any points.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff by Ycoms and Puff Pirate to get 3rd and 4th position. Some very strong drives there by a number of people throughout the field.
Yeah, Ycoms, his first podium since making his return to this league in Le Mans Bugatti for round 3. I'm not quite sure whether he's had a podium before at all. To be perfectly honest, it might be his first one ever in the AOR GT3 Elite League. So very good day for him in the Mercedes, and yeah, shout out for Puff Power as well. 4th place on his second race with us as well. But Masa won the race, and he's going to continue to lead the championship. Of course, he had a 19-point gap, provisionally, of course, depending on what happens with the investigation at Spa still, but 19-point gap on TonyR into this race, and he's obviously going to extend that with a win. Yeah, I think that's about it for this race at Zhuhai. One that was very testing for the drivers with the night conditions, with the fog as well. And it's going to be more testing conditions next week at Silverstone, the GP circuit there, where it's not quite going to be night conditions, but it's going to be rainy for the start of the race, and then it's going to clear up. It's going to be mixed conditions at Silverstone next time out for a 11 AM start as well. So it's going to be daylight, but rain for the drivers to contest with. And Yorkie, anything particular we can you're looking forward to with next week's race?
Silverstone, basically.
Yeah, it's always
Silverstone. There's not really much more to say other than I really like the truck. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Silverstone always provides some good racing, as we know. But yeah, that's gonna be it, I think, for this week. We have 2 rounds to go in the season. We will be back with the first of those at Silverstone for some rain next time out. At the same time, Wednesday, 8 PM UK time, on my Twitch channel, of course. And you can follow us both on Twitter as well for various racing tweets and other relevant stuff and updates as well with regards to the league. At PhysioFat91 and at Yorkie065. So get around to doing that, and we will see you next week again around 9 at Silverstone here on Twitch. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.